Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal Mr. Butter coming back at you again. Today I want to get into a pair of kicks that I'm really excited about. This pair is a collaboration between Concepts and New Balance. Concepts always delivers on their collaborations, and New Balance has really been knocking it out of the park lately. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Let's dive into this collaboration between Concepts and New Balance and take a look at these 1906 hours and days. I thought the inspiration for this design was really cool. There's a lot of different factors that go into the inspiration of this, so I wanted to pull up the Concepts article just so that I could touch on everything without leaving any of the details out. This collaboration is supposed to be a modern interpretation of a previous collaboration that Concepts and New Balance have done on the 999. That was called the Seal, and that referenced the US Navy SEALs. The colors and the materials that they used were inspired by materials and colors used to make footwear for the US military. So they drew inspiration from that 2012 999 release, but then they also used the hours and days as inspiration. And what they did with that was they wanted to bridge the gap between modern runners and OG runners. So in this article, they highlighted two different people. I think the most interesting person they call the Raven, but I think his name is Robert Kraft. It says for over 49 years, he's never missed a day. He logs each of his miles, totaling over 160,000 miles, enough to circle the globe 6 times. So that was the OG, kind of like the old timer runner that they featured. And then they also featured Tashawn Richards, who is a runner in New York. He's a younger person. He's been running for like 11 years. But basically, they're talking about the hours and days that make up everything that goes into taking care of your mental health, taking care of your physical health, that kind of thing. But they also really just wanted to bridge the gap between modern runners, the younger generation, and the OGs such as the Raven that they highlighted. So that's a little bit of the inspiration behind this shoe. I'll go ahead and sit this down now, but I just wanted to touch on that briefly because I really liked that inspiration behind this pair of kicks. We got a standard GR New Balance box, and much like my recent review of the Asics Above the Clouds, I was just a little bummed to see that we didn't get anything fancy, any special packaging. Typically, Concepts knocks their packaging out of the park when it comes to collaboration. The first thing that comes to mind is the C Notes. The packaging that they did for the C Notes was really phenomenal. It looks like it's like a $100 bill on the top of the lid. And I just think they really paid attention to detail on that. Concepts also has collabs with Nike. They did those Air Maxes and they had really cool packaging on those. I even have a pair of Sperry's that is a Concept collab, and that box is special as well. So I was really hoping that we would see some special packaging on this release. However, we just got the GR box. It's not a deal breaker for me, but I think we could have gotten something a little bit more elevated than this. The tag reads 1906 N, and there's nothing to indicate that this is a Concepts collab. I go true to size on the 1906 silhouette. There's 1906Rs, 1906U. This one says 1906N. No matter what 1906 it is, I always go true to size. They're wide foot friendly and they're a very comfortable shoe. I had VIP access to order these early from the Concepts website whenever they did the main release. I think on last Friday it sold out immediately, but I really don't see a whole lot of hype or many people really talking about these. And enough of that boring box. Have a look at these absolute beauties.
Absolute beauties.
Along with multiple people calling these bricks, somebody said that you have to be over 40 years old to wear those bricks. And I'm over 40 years old, but I thought that was hilarious. I think these things are so good. I love that shade of blue that we have on the heel and the outsole. as well as that N on the inside of the shoe. I think the colors on these are just absolutely beautiful. I think they're going to be so easy to wear with a wide range of colors and outfits. I think this is a pair that you can wear casually, or you could even spiff these up a little bit with a dressier outfit. I just love all these earth tones. I think they are so good on so many levels. There's textures galore on here. There's different materials galore. You have a mix of synthetic materials as well as a mix of very premium feeling suede and nubuck, and altogether I just think this is an absolute masterpiece. Just like the box didn't have any Concepts branding, that's one thing about these shoes. And again, that's very similar to the Asics Above the Clouds that I reviewed last week. But this pair of shoes has no Concepts branding on it whatsoever. Not on the insoles, not on the outsoles, not on the tongue. I just don't see anything that indicates that this is a collab of any way, shape, or form. That being said, I think whenever you look at these shoes in person, I think they definitely look like a special release. Like, this does not look like a standard 1906 to me. This definitely looks elevated. It looks premium. And I am just a huge fan of this pair of kicks. They came with kind of oval rope style laces already in the shoe. It's like a cream or an off-white color, but then they also came with flat woven laces, and that's in that light green or kind of like a sage color. I'm gonna take the laces off one of these shoes so that they're not flopping around the whole time I'm here looking at them. Just like we've come to expect from the 1906, we've got a base of mesh on the upper, and it's just got all kinds of overlays on here. I think most of my 1906s that I have, with the exception of the Refined Future Pack, most of my 1906s only have synthetic material. That Refined Future Pack has a whole lot of hairy suede on the upper, and I really like that pair as well. But for the most part, 1906s are typically all synthetic, and with this pair we definitely get a nice mix of premium materials and synthetic materials. Even the synthetic materials on this pair blend in so well. Like, it's not like you see one material and you think, oh, that looks cheap, and then you look at the suede and the nubuck and think, well, that looks premium, why'd they put that cheap stuff on there? It all meshes very well. I just really love the mix and the variety of materials that we have on here, and I really do think that this shoe is a masterpiece. Looking at the outsole, we have this really nice bright blue color that I love. It reminds me of the color of blue that we see on Fragment Jordan 1 Lows, the Travis Scott Fragment collabs. It's a very vibrant color, and it's not overly bright. It's just right in this sweet spot of being low-key but really vibrant, if that makes any sense. But I love the shade of blue. We have a standard 1906 traction pattern, and like all of my other 1906s, it just feels like it's got a really hard rubber for the outsole. We do see some of that foam peeking through with some New Balance branding there at the heel, and at the midfoot we have this stability web, and that is like a hard plastic material, but that's just for like torsion control so your feet don't twist the wrong way, and it really just adds some stability to the shoe. As we come up from the outsole, we see a very interesting midsole. This part back here reminds me of two things. It reminds me of Asics gel, just the way that blue is kind of that jelly looking material, but it also reminds me of like a more wearable, less obnoxious version of the Nike Shox. Just because it looks like you have separated little pillars back here for the shock absorbing system, but I think this is very wearable. This isn't as loud and in your face. Then we see some Energy branding here on this foam, and that's kind of like an off-white color. We've got some hits of that nice sage green color as well. I love how the blue rubber from the outsole wraps up in the front, and then you've got this sage green end there in the front. I think that's a really nice detail. And then I just love all the lines that we have on this. Very similar, if not exactly like the 2002R. I just think these midsoles are very cool looking. There's definitely a lot going on, but I think it's executed very well. Then starting at the front on this upper, here we can see some of this premium suede or nubuck, and it's in a light tan color, and then we've also got more of like a sand color just underneath of that. There's a lot of little designs that are pressed in there just to make it more interesting, and you also see that on the light tan color as well. But I just love all the little details like that. This material feels as premium as can be. This feels like something that would be on a Made in USA pair, and I'm just really loving the quality of this. As we come to the inside of the shoe, we've got this cool green material, and this is kind of hard to describe. I don't know if this is a nylon, but it's definitely synthetic. It has a little bit of a harder, more stiff feel to it, but I love the look of it. I really like the color, and I like how it goes with all these other materials. Again, you see little designs kind of pressed into that, and I just think it's a really neat looking effect. On both sides of the shoe, we have a synthetic brown material. We've got some 1906 branding pressed into that, and just a lot of really cool lines on there. We've got it on both sides of the shoe. This brown material is all reflective, and whenever you look at it at first, you don't even notice that it is. And that's something that I think New Balance always does really well too, is just a lot of times you don't even know what's reflective and what isn't, and then all of a sudden the light hits it just the right way and they just really pop. And this brown material really glows, as well as this N for the N-lock system. On the outside, it's the sand color, but then on the inside of the shoe, it's that blue color that I really like, and that carries on up into the lacing system. And I really like how coming up the eye stays, you see the tan on the outside and that bright blue on the inside. I just think that's a really cool look. This blue is reflective, and whenever the light hits that, it actually glows blue, which I thought was really cool looking. As we come to the heel, we have a hard plastic heel anchor with some New Balance branding on that as well. And I really just like this color. This shade of blue is just the bee's knees as far as I'm concerned. Just above that heel anchor, we have 3 stripes, and that's all reflective as well, but that's just kind of like in a gray 3M color. For the base of our shoe, we have a very breathable mesh, and that's white or maybe even off-white, but I really like how comfortable these are. I think it being a primarily mesh shoe is part of what makes these so comfortable. I think this would be great for summertime, even going into the fall. Whenever it gets to wintertime, I'm not going to wear these, but basically spring, summer, and fall, I think these will be perfect for it, and I think they'll be really easy to match to some outfits. In the spring, you have this nice bright blue to kind of go with the colors you might be rocking in spring, but then all these earth tones I think would be perfect to throw together with some fall outfits as well. The tongue is more of that breathable mesh, but it is in that nice green or sage color. At the top of the tongue, we have some synthetic tan leather, and it's got some New Balance branding on that. It looks like our sock liner is a breathable mesh as well. We also have that on the back of the tongue. Although our insoles don't have any Concepts branding on it, they do have this kind of topography map, and I think that's pretty cool looking as well. Both shoes have that. All right, so that was a pretty quick look at the New Balance 1906 collaboration with Concepts, the Hours and Days. I think these things came out beautifully. I really like the inspiration behind the pair. That guy that runs 8 miles a day, just reading that is very inspiring. I would love to get to that point, but every time I start to exercise, it seems like I get injured. Maybe I'm just getting old, but if the Raven can continue to do it for 50 years, then I don't really have any excuses. I'll probably just keep these cream colored laces in here. I kind of like the contrast of that against the tongue. The spares are the exact same color as the tongue, and I just think they might get lost in the mix too much. I kind of like the contrast that the cream color gives. Let me know what laces you would rock. Let me know what you all think about these. I really haven't heard many people talking about them. I think it's a beautiful pair of shoes. Concepts collabs always have my attention, and I really like this pair. I do wish that we would have had some special packaging, but as far as the shoes are concerned, I think these things are beautiful. But thank you all so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate you all supporting the channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will catch you on the next one. I'm out.